Are we starting? Okay.
Hello.
Hey.
We were just talking a little bit about the Bears before we came on the airs.
Stinky.
Okay, we'll get to that. Every team plays in week 3, so we're gonna talk about every team.
Let's roll through it.
First, we're gonna talk about how our picks did last week. So Josh had 4 that he gave out. I had 5.
Yeah.
So let's just go through them. Josh had the Rams for 3 stars, and that ended up being too good to be true sort of a thing. The injuries. Well, Cooper Kupp got hurt.
Kupp is out now. That he's not on IR, luckily, because on my fantasy team. But yeah, he's not playing this week.
Yeah. So Puka and Kupp are out. And when did he go down in that game? Was it early or?
No, he played most of it. But he was like at least the third quarter, I think.
Yeah. Well, then they were down by 3 touchdowns or whatever. But yeah, I mean, you have multiple starting offensive linemen go down, and then now your top 2 receivers who are elite receivers are both down. It's like it happens to a team or two every year where it's just there's not much you can do because you get hurt. But so that one. We'll go on to the next one. So you had the Steelers over the Broncos. You got that right. That was a 1 star. The Bears, Texans. Did we? Oh no, that was only you. You had the Texans.
Yeah.
-6, and it felt like. Well, let me say this: Texans are up by 9, and they're at the 3-yard line, right?
Yeah.
And they fumble it.
Yep.
If they score there, they're for sure covering 6. So. I'm going to say through and through you had the right side on that and just kind of got screwed at the end.
I mean, it's inexplicable how the Bears can fuck you in so many different ways, right? Like, they're terrible. You watch them every week, but yet they're just good enough on defense to screw you over on the lines. It's just,
Yeah, I hear you.
What an awful mess.
And then you had I think we went opposite on this one, if I'm right? You liked the Eagles and I liked the Falcons.
And man, right up until the end, right? These Eagles.
Yeah. So when we're giving out these picks, it's always going to be like the spread, right? Because that's like what's equating the 2 teams, right? It's the handicap. So the Eagles were -6.5, and I don't know. Did they ever lead by 6.5? They obviously got up by 6, and they could have punched in a touchdown to go up 10 if Saquon didn't have.
I really want to say they were up by a touchdown in the first quarter.
Toes for fingers or whatever. But that one, I mean, that was interesting. Obviously, Cousins drives them down. I don't know what defense Fangio was running there in the 2-minute drill. It didn't work though.
No, they were never up. They were never up by the spread that game.
Yeah, so I remember this for next season. When you have a team that should be competent that starts 0-1, it seems like they always play better week 2, and like they're going to give you a good game, even if it's on the road against the Eagles, who, I don't know, like the Eagles haven't been great. They're like 2-9 in their games.
Yeah, a lot of
11 games or whatever. But I think people still expect the Eagles to be one of the better teams in the NFL.
Yeah, they looked good against the Packers in week 1. Packers are supposed to be good,
right? Yeah. So, I mean, like teams bouncing back from 0-1 who are still expected to be pretty decent. I think if you look at those statistics, those teams usually fare pretty well. Just something to remember for next year. So,
well, you look at that game that it was Sirianni, right? The decision that Sirianni made to go for the 3 points as opposed to, what was it? They passed the ball instead of running the ball on 3rd and short near the goal line, and that was the minutia of game planning that fucked them.
Yeah, so let's talk about that just for a second, because I think that's fascinating. If you look back at it, obviously he should have caught the ball, right? Like,
yes.
And he probably scores, and he for sure gets a first down and maybe goes down, and then they just kneel it out.
Right.
But it was 3rd and 4 from the 7 or something like that.
4 down territory.
If you run the ball, whether it's a draw or just run Saquon, you can expect to probably get at least a couple yards.
And run the clock.
They had no timeouts left. And then there's a good chance you're close enough for another tush push. They got 3 yards on it every time they did it.
Yep.
And like you just don't even have to worry about someone catching a ball.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can, you know.
And then if you don't get it, I mean, the other team is like you're playing in for overtime because the other team is pressed up against their own end zone. This is why the head coach gets paid to be the head coach, is to make that critical decision in that moment. And it's like, now, I don't know, man. It's if they have even just a mediocre season, I feel like this decision, he's done. Sirianni.
Yeah. And like people say, well, if he just catches the ball, then we're not questioning it. And I disagree. Like, I think it was grossly the wrong decision, because even if let's say you run it and they tackle you for a 2-yard loss. Okay, you take it down to 105, and you wouldn't go for it, but so you kick it, right? You're up 6, and then you kick a touchback. They're at the 30 with 45 fewer seconds or whatever. Okay, first play, what did the Falcons do? They ran Pitts up the seam for like 12 to get the drive started, right? Because they had plenty of time.
Yeah.
They probably don't do that if they have a minute left instead of a minute 45, right?
Yeah.
Like they're probably going towards the sidelines immediately, because you take one sack or you get tackled in bounds once, you're going to have to be absolutely perfect to make it down there to score a touchdown. So I like, even Van Pelt was saying, like, we're only questioning it because he didn't catch it.
No, I disagree.
Yeah, like there's a case to be made for that if the situation wasn't quite what it was, but you have to run the ball there. Like,
yeah,
I don't know.
Somebody's not going to catch a ball in a game, right? Like, that's just going to happen. That's how shit works, right? So you have to have the mental acuity to make the right decision in those critical moments. Nothing's going to go perfect. Your star player is going to fuck up from time to time. It's your job to figure that shit out, right? Make those decisions, download all that data, and figure it out. And he just didn't do it in that instance. And that's just, that's for him, man.
That's my opinion. So
yeah,
that's our opinion.
You
take it for what it is. Okay, so let's quickly. So Josh has a rough start to the picks on the year.
I do.
1-5-1 overall.
Bad.
I was bad week 1 and very good last week. I was 4-1. So overall, I'm 7-6 and 3-1 on my 3 stars. So, I mean, if I keep that up, that'll be pretty amazing. I don't think it's going to happen, but you can always try, right?
Yeah.
Okay, let's go to week 3. We have tonight, the New England Patriots are playing the New York Jets.
Football Jets, yeah.
And I have the Jets -5.5.
I got them by -3.5.
Okay. I think I get that one.
Yeah, no, it's 6.
So it opened at 6.5 and went to 6. I think if these two teams aren't in the same division, this is maybe higher. Although I don't know, like the Jets are 1-1. Like they kind of rallied to beat the Titans. They were down early and then they ended up winning by a touchdown. So it's not like the Jets are really clicking like they want to yet, but they are 1-1. Patriots are also 1-1. Played very good defense again, kept it close, end up going to overtime. I think the Seahawks had to kick a field goal, I think, to send it to overtime, and then the Seahawks kicked a field goal in overtime. So that was one of my 3 stars. The Patriots keeping it close. They did the whole game pretty much. So I don't know, like this is a division game. 6 points to me seems like a lot, but you're also going to have a lot of people that say, like Aaron Rodgers and the Jets at home should be able to beat the Pats by a touchdown. I think you should fight the urge to like that.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be close because it's a division game. The Patriots have played good defense. They've taken care of the ball for the most part.
You can write off history, I think, here a little bit. Obviously, it's a different coach, different quarterback. It's a different regime, different era, whatever. But I think this Patriots team has surprised me. Most people thought they were going to be just in the trash for the season, and that hasn't been the case. They've shown a level of competence, and I just think, again, it's the division. You never know what's going to happen with these division rivalries, And I never underestimate like the bad coach on a Jet side and somebody to get under Rodgers' skin to have it just a disaster here. That's why I went 3.5 with the Jets. I don't know if the Patriots are going to win, but I like them to keep it close.
Yeah, and these Thursday night games we've seen like
That's right.
inconsistency. Like you never really know who recovered faster,
Right.
who put in a better game plan on a short week and all that. So it can be really tough, but definitely, at the end of this, I think I'm going to be giving out the Patriots, even if it's only like a 1 star. Like I just think they're going to keep it close. Division game. Just the way they've played with their defense, and like the Jets haven't really scored a ton of points either to this point.
They've not looked great. Like, I mean, Rodgers at times has looked amazing throwing the ball, but it seems like that's the only thing he's able to do. He just throw a missile downfield. There just seems to be a lot of intangibles that maybe aren't quite where you want them to be.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's that for the Thursday night game of the week.
Yep.
Giants at the Browns.
Oh, boys, Giants.
Oh, those Giants.
Woo!
You're gonna start saying, if the Giants played Alabama, no.
Yeah, no,
who would win?
Maybe Alabama. Maybe not this iteration of Alabama.
I have the Browns skis by 9.
I have the Browns given 4.
So
we're gonna split this.
It's close. Yeah, it's in the middle. Opened at 7, went to 6.5. Okay. I do not understand why this is like less than a touchdown. I just don't get it with what the Giants have done.
They look bad
so far. I mean, I guess the Browns got smoked by the Cowboys, who got smoked by the Saints, and then the Browns beat the Jags, who maybe the Jags are just really not good. Yeah. So I think it's, again, even though it looks like the Giants are definitely going to be one of the worst teams in the league, you just don't overreact, and you can't expect the Browns to they haven't done anything either. So I guess I get it in that respect.
I think that's it with me. It's just I don't know. I just don't like the Browns. There's a miasma around that team. I know their defense is good and the Giants have been awful, but this just feels. I don't feel like the Browns are positioned to be better than a touchdown by any team in the league right now. I think that's where I'm at. That's where I'm at with 4.
I'm fair. I mean, that's definitely fair. So here's what I'll say. After 2 weeks, if the Browns do blow them out, maybe the Browns actually are decent. And if the Giants keep it close and,
Daniel Jones has a few miracles,
and or win, maybe they're not as bad as people think. I don't stay away from this game. I don't have any opinion on it. I
had to bet it at this point at 6.5. Yeah. I mean, could they win by a touchdown? Sure. Could it come down to a field goal? Could they lose an over? I mean, just it feels like anything's on the table right now.
Here's one thing. So Graham Gano got hurt, and it must have been early in the game because I was checking my phone. I'm like, why do they keep going for 2?
Yeah.
And they end up
kicker. Yeah.
They went for 2 at least twice and didn't get it. They end up losing by 3, and they would have had a lead. I'm pretty sure that was a huge.
Yeah.
If Gano's in there just kicking extra points, it would have definitely made a difference in the way the game kind of, progressed. I don't know what happened to him, but yeah, he got hurt early.
Yeah.
I saw something about this dude's fantasy. There's been quite a few injuries already. This dude's fantasy team is completely blown up. Every single player that he would have on his starting roster is out. So yeah, I mean, back to the task at hand. Stay away from this. 2
I don't watch it either, maybe.
Uninteresting teams to me.
Yeah, that don't feel like they're going to do anything this year except get blown up. Maybe both of them. Definitely the Giants.
Yeah. All right. Next one could be good. Eagles at the Saints. I went Eagles by 1.
So I went the Saints by 3.5. So I'm buying into the Saints for some reason. And I know I've said on these airwaves, so to speak, that I hate them and they're bad. But man, I don't know. Their performance has been much better than anticipated.
So it opened at Saints 2.5, and it's 3 some places, but it is 2.5 most consistently. So you get that one.
Yeah.
So we each got one win, and then we have one tie. All right. This is a very interesting. So I've kind of alluded to this in a way, like week 3. Okay, so everyone's played 2 teams so far, right?
Yep.
So you start to understand a little bit about like who played 2 tough teams and played decent, but you can't really get that perspective until there's a few more games played. So
Not
week
enough
3,
data.
so week 3 you have the Eagles beat the Packers. That's a pretty good win. They had the Falcons and blew it, which I think most people would tell you the Falcons are going to be at least decent this year.
There was a lot of people who thought the Falcons were going to win that division, that they were by far like head and shoulders the best team, like that it wasn't close. There were doubts. And now you look at it and the Saints and the Bucks are 2-0 and they look fucking great.
Right. Yeah, so I mean, based on what the Eagles have done so far, I think they're fine. Like they're not elite, but
they look good in the opening against the. I mean, there was a tight game, but they ended up winning by 2 touchdowns, didn't they? They scored 35 points, right?
They were up like 5 down the stretch. I don't remember if they scored again after. Well, no, because Malik Willis was trying to throw that Hail Mary to win. I think they lost by 5. Or
Yeah,
they won
all
by
right.
5.
I gotta look. It was because it's 34-29. So they did. They lost or they won by 5. They scored 34 points against the Packers. Everybody thought the Packers were going to be really good. People down on the Eagles. It was just a stupid game. It's just a stupid game for the Eagles. I know we spent all the time on this already, but
No, that's all right. I mean, so the Eagles are fine. Like I think they've kind a little sort of erased that bad juju at the end of last year. Like they're going to be at least decent. And then the Saints, like okay, the Saints. Who did they play week 1?
they played the
The
Panthers.
Panthers. Okay, so
Yeah.
whatever.
Terrible team.
A lot of teams are probably going to blow out the Panthers. Week 2,
No, not that Andy Dalton's starting now. Maybe not.
We'll
Maybe
get to that.
not.
That might be the pick of the week, and not
Yeah.
what you're thinking.
The Red Rifle
So, and then they beat the Cowboys in Dallas, which is
destroyed them.
definitely impressive.
Yeah.
Now, you got the Saints definitely on their high horse.
Yeah.
You got the Eagles a little bit pissed off now that they blew that one. Like you're gonna find out if the Saints are really for real or not.
You're gonna find out if that Kubiak guy's gonna be a head coach somewhere else next year
or next week.
Yeah, right.
I mean the Panthers, the Panthers whatever owner, I could see him firing
just right. Yeah, a couple of games.
I mean he
oh my
doesn't.
God, no, he doesn't. Why care about money when you got that much of it? I guess.
So, I like the Eagles here. I think even though they just blew a close game, I think they'll correct that stuff. I don't know. Like I think the Saints are gonna. I might be on an island with this one, but I think the Saints are gonna go back to what the Saints were.
Yeah.
Although, like I don't know, the Saints have scored
prolifically
91 points.
Yeah.
And the Eagles aren't stopping anyone.
Yeah. Well, look, if Kamara is going to be as good as he's been, and because he's not been that great, like he's had several down years, right? But if he's going to find the fountain of youth and be that good, then I don't see why this offense can't be maybe not scoring 40 points every week, but much more prolific than they were predicted to be.
And if you look at like X's and O's, I mean the Falcons pushed the Eagles around on the line. Like Bijan Robinson ran for he had 100 yards. Like
just under, yeah. He didn't score any touchdowns, but yeah, he had
100 yards like halfway through the third quarter. Like he was just running all over the place.
Yeah.
So if you look at the X's and O's, like I don't know how you wouldn't pick the Saints here. I just think the Eagles will keep it close, and I think they're gonna pull out a close game after what happened last week. The Saints haven't been in a close game yet this year, so
I'm Sirianni better. I hope that he does.
All right. That's what we got for those
Mm-hmm.
those 3 to start the week. Okay. Let's move on. We got could be a good one here. Texans at the Vikings. I have the Texans by 1.
I got the Vikings by 3.5.
Whoa.
Yeah, I mean, maybe I just don't have enough faith in the Bears defense, which is like you can't talk about the Bears as a holistic team. You can only talk about them in context of defense. But maybe I don't have enough faith in it. I just didn't. I thought the Texans have been underwhelming so far this year. I know they're 2-0, but they beat a Colts team that maybe doesn't know what they're doing, and then they beat a Bears team that is a disaster, at least on offensively. So they played half a team and maybe three-quarters of a team, and the Vikings have looked great.
Yeah. Stroud definitely struggled with the Bears defense, especially in the second half.
Yeah.
The Vikings defense has played pretty well.
The offense has looked good, although Jeffries is injured, right?
Jefferson, yeah. Jefferson. Well, Jefferson should play. He's got a bruised quad. So
yeah.
I mean, I would guess he would play with that, even if it's just playing through pain. So the Texans, this is a tough one for me because like the Vikings obviously have overachieved early.
Very much.
Darnold's looked really good. Yep. He just had an emotional win against the team that cut him.
Mm-hmm.
And then Houston probably doesn't feel that good about their win last week. But they got a win. They're 2-0.
Yeah.
So I don't know. You got Houston coming up to the to US Bank Stadium.
Yeah, on the road.
As a Vikings fan, like I never like expect them to have a ton of continuity. It just seems like they take a step forward and a step back, or a step forward and two steps back. So I don't know what to think. I
mean, given the two games for this season, this feels like a very winnable game for the Vikings, which is something you probably wouldn't have said 4 weeks ago.
Yeah, it's nice to get the Texans at home because you just feel like you have a little bit more of a chance. I don't have a strong opinion on this, so let's see what is the spread. Actually, we didn't even.
No.
It opened at Texans -1.5, and it went up to 2.
Yeah,
interesting.
People like I mean, the pedigree from last year still carries a lot of weight, and you still like CJ Stroud. They are 2-0, so this doesn't make this line isn't too weird to me. But they're not at home, and so the Vikings have shown that they're better than everyone thought they were, and the Texans haven't blown anybody out yet. This is weird. This is a little bit of a weird line to me.
Yeah, I mean, I think you just you expect just a little bit more consistency out of Stroud versus Darnold.
Yes,
and I mean, I think it's fair. I think you can't expect the Vikings to win this game. I think just based on what the Texans did last year, they're 2-0. Like they should be favored slightly, and that's what it is. So that's kind of why I put it in that zone. And then we're looking at this like one place has the Texans by 1, and it's all the way up to 2.5. So some of that uncertainty is injuries. Jefferson should play, but you don't know for sure. Addison probably won't play. He hasn't practiced this week. And then Mixon had that ankle injury from that supposed hip drop tackle, and he's questionable. So you got, key skill players who are questionable. I think that's why you're seeing some of these kind of jumping around.
Mm-hmm.
But overall, I think Texans by 2 is pretty fair, and I don't have an opinion on what I think is going to happen.
Could be a good game. I mean, this could be a really great game to watch if you can catch it. I would be very interested in seeing this game. Now you're looking at maybe 2 potential playoff teams, right? Obviously, they'd have to meet in the Super Bowl, which I don't think the Vikings are going to make the Super Bowl, but this could be a really fun game, especially if Darnold and the Vikings continue to do what they've been doing, winning.
That was
one to watch.
It was impressive, but the Vikings beating the Niners. Well, depending how you look at it, the Niners haven't beaten the Vikings in Minnesota since like 1996 or something like that.
That's a weird, bizarre football stat. That's crazy.
And people are probably like, well, they probably played them like 3 times. No, they've played them like 6 times or something like that.
Yeah, that's
5 or 6 times.
strange.
It's crazy.
That is strange.
I mean, I don't know. Like you're going on the road, you're flying from California to Minnesota. I don't know. But
it's
still,
not that far. It's not New York, and it's not San Francisco to New York.
They've probably been favored in 4 or 5 of those, I would guess too.
Yeah.
So it is. I mean, it's a little weird, but I'll say this: if the Vikings can win this one after doing that last week, and get some consistency, I'm really gonna be
take them seriously.
Yeah.
Take them seriously.
But not yet.
Nope. Got to play the game.
as I wear my Minnesota Twins shirt and they're trying to blow it and not get in the playoffs.
Why would you want to make the playoff? I mean, come on.
Yeah.
What's the big deal about that? I don't know. World Series.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, I guess it's because no team that hasn't made the playoffs has ever won it all.
Fair enough. Yeah, I guess that'd be a good point. It's a good point. Yeah.
Okay, well, we're gonna go Broncos Bucks, the battle of the bees.
Boom, boom, boom.
I have the Buck. I whiffed on this one. Bucks 11.5.
So I'm with Bucks 7.5.
You for sure got it, and I don't. You are close to being right. Come on, scroller.
6.5.
6.5 across the board.
Okay. This has to be. The line I think is 6.5 and not higher, just because I still think people don't have faith in the Bucks and Baker Mayfield, and I thought that Lions win was pretty impressive. I mean, the Lions beat them last year in the playoffs. People didn't take the Bucks seriously last year anyway. Again, they were not a playoff team to the very last game of the season, and then they destroyed the Eagles, or they beat the Eagles. But the Eagles had fallen apart at that point. So I think people still don't know what they are, or don't have faith in what they are, even though they're 2-0. I do like the Bucks here. I think unfortunately the Broncos have missed the boat, seems like.
Yeah. I mean, the Bucks win in Detroit is super impressive to me.
Very much.
And
yeah.
one thing that just crossed my mind, like, I mean, Baker Mayfield isn't the best quarterback in the NFL, but if you want to go on the road and play a team that you're not supposed to beat, I would rather have him as my quarterback than a handful of quarterbacks that are considered better than him. I would say that. It just seems like he can do those sorts of things. Like the Rams signed him in like the middle of the week.
Yeah,
he started. And beat.
Yeah, he won whoever. A game. Yeah, it's weird. Well, had Stafford had his injuries been had they been worse, or had they lingered, I think you might have seen. I don't think they would have let Baker go. I don't think they want controversy there. He's a very serviceable quarterback. I mean, his career is weird because he's bounced around so much, but he wins. Won a playoff game in Cleveland. He won a playoff game in Tampa. Like I feel like the list of quarterbacks who have traveled as much as he has and won playoff games is probably pretty small.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. Like, it's just a weird idea of like, oh, in these certain situations, he's just like better than quarterbacks who normally perform better than him. I mean, that's just my opinion.
Just don't count him out, I think, is the thing. You can't.
So, me being 5 points off on a spread is about as bad as it gets. I don't know how you trust the Broncos, but I guess you could say the Bucks coming off a huge win on the road.
Yeah.
Maybe they kind of ease up a little bit and like lose focus or whatever. But then, like the Broncos have done nothing.
Yeah.
I don't know what you do with this. Like, I guess in my spread pick 'em, I'm gonna take the Broncos just because I think they can keep it close. Maybe the Bucks are a little rusty or taking it easy, whatever. But I don't like it's gonna be a very low confidence pick for sure.
I like the Bucks here.
All right, Josh likes the Bucks, and
certainly over.
If I had to, I would take the Broncos, but I don't really have a strong opinion. All right, let's go on.
Packers-Titans.
I have okay, so let me say this. When I first did this, obviously we didn't know if Jordan Love would play. So I had two spreads vastly different. I had Packers by 3 if Love was going to play, and I have Titans by 6 if he's not. And now I'm assuming he's not, so I went Titans by 6.
He's still doubtful, right?
I believe so, yeah.
I have Titans by 1.5. Give him 1.5.
All right, I think you're basically right on. Yeah, it opened at 2 and it's down to 1.5. So,
I mean, I just don't. Matt LaFleur is like a great coach. Like, I don't know how I think that victory against the Colts says a lot, and given what he was working with, what he's done with Jordan Love, I think speaks a lot too. he's got a very impressive playoff victory last year against the Cowboys. So I think he's a good coach. And I just don't know that you can say the same thing about what you have in the Titans. Certainly their quarterback is I want to call him a disaster, but he has a penchant for making disastrous things happen. And that's why we just went low here. It's just the fact that the Titans they're at home is the only reason I gave them the 1.5.
Yeah. So 2 things. If Levis makes a dumb mistake like that again and turns the ball over for no reason, a 3rd game in a row, like his coach is extremely upset with that. You could see it in the post-game press conference.
It's inexplicable. Yeah.
Like, I don't know that he's going to get benched for like an extended period, but he's going to come out of the game.
He should. They lost that Bears game because of that stupid flipping play. Like that was take the fucking sack.
Well, and they were in the red zone when he did it against the Jets too.
Yeah.
And you lose by 7 again, It's like, I think they lost 24-17 both weeks.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It's just don't stop it. I just whatever, just stop it.
So I'm gonna say something that may or may not be true, but here's what I'm thinking. So as I said, I had Packers by 3 if Love was going to play, and I have Titans by 6 if he's not. Now I think he's truly questionable on whether Love plays or not, and Titans 1.5 is exactly in the middle of my 2 guesses. So what I think is Vegas doesn't really know, so they're kind of middling it. Like, yeah, if you think, here's what I'll say: if you think Love is not playing, I would absolutely take the Titans 1,000%, because last week Malik Willis threw the ball like 14 times or something like that. They ran it. I don't know what the Colts were thinking.
They'll make no adjustments to not even again. It's so stupid.
If the Titans don't just stack the box and make Malik Willis try to beat them, they're idiots, because he cannot do it.
Yep.
So if Willis plays this game and the Titans don't win by at least 4, I will be extremely surprised.
I just think the open question here is, how dumb is the Titans coaching staff? And I don't know that we have an answer to that yet, right? Like, it's a new coaching staff, and the team has lost largely on the play of their quarterback and some really boneheaded decisions. But I just feel like you can't ever underestimate the ability of a coaching staff to tank their chances because they don't game plan appropriately, and just rigidly stick to whatever they do, right? We're this kind of team, and so we're going to do this regardless of circumstance. It seems to be a very prevailing mentality for a lot of NFL coaches, and I'm not sure if we understand what kind of coach this guy is yet.
Yeah. So, like the whole Malik Willis thing, if he plays and he throws 30 passes and he completes like 20 or more of them and doesn't throw a pick and has a couple touchdowns and wins the game, I will stop doing this podcast. And a lot of people would say that's great. We'd like you to stop, but
that's not true. We have 10 rabid followers, give or take 5 or 6.
But I'm just saying, like, I just think he's incapable of throwing the ball a lot, throwing the ball as much as a normal quarterback should.
There's no history for it. There's nothing.
Yeah, in winning games. So
no, there's no data to back that up. That's a hope and a prayer.
The Titans are listening. You got the game plan. It's not that hard. Stack the box.
Play to stop the run. That's it.
Okay.
We should be NFL head coaches.
Oh, so here's what I'll say. Well, I'll go back to the whole stars and picks and whatever, but if Willis plays, 3 stars on the Titans. That's what I'm saying. Okay. We got his Bears against the Colts. This is interesting. The Colts already played the Texans. Now the Colts are going to play the Bears. The Bears played the Texans. That's when you really start to understand like who's good and who's not, when you got 3 teams who have all played each other. It's like, okay, now I can kind of, and all of those games, well, Bears Texans and Colts Texans were fairly close games.
Yep.
So maybe we can expect this one to be close. And so I said the Colts minus 2.5.
Your Dakota showing. I have the Colts minus 5.5. The Bears are not good. At least 50% of their football team isn't good, and I feel like that's a problem.
Part of it.
This is a stunning line to me. Just stunning.
Colts 1.5. It came down to 1 some places, but 1.5 is the most consistent. So
I just don't know how you can like the Bears that much, especially on the road. I just don't. There's just maybe just the stunning stupidity of the coaches staff to not, the Colts coaching staff to not game plan for stopping the run against the Packers, given their limited quarterback play. So maybe we won't see a lot of blitzes from the Colts this week. Again, similarly, not understanding the weaknesses of their opponent. But
yeah, there's a lot going on here. So the Colts, I thought, even though I didn't watch it, like the Colts played a pretty good game against the Texans. They kept it close. Obviously, didn't end up winning, and then they just had a horrible game plan against the Packers, in my opinion. And then you got the Bears, whose defense has played great for 2 weeks,
yeah,
and Caleb Williams obviously hasn't looked good, but I'm going to say the Titans probably end up having a above average defense, and then the Texans absolutely will have an above average defense.
playoff level defense. Yeah.
And you got a rookie quarterback, even though he's the one overall pick, with maybe his offensive line isn't very good.
Worst offensive line in football.
Really?
I mean,
Like,
that's a question.
Weird because
is
it wasn't even supposed to be a weakness, I don't think.
Nobody talked about it. No, nobody talked about it at all. It was all about, oh, look at all the weapons. Look at all the weapons. And it was like the offensive line is essentially the same from last year, right? Like they didn't add anything. Maybe they had a few draft picks. I don't think any of them were starting, but
didn't they
what a failure.
Isn't Bates the center? Was he the center last year?
They've had an issue with center, right? They've had a rotating, like a rogues gallery of centers. So they haven't figured that out, but that's not even the problem. They're talking about the right side of the line is the bigger issue. I think right guard specifically, it looks nasty. And then like you saw Cole Kmet just completely whiff on a block like that just killed Williams. It's bad. It was like I was saying, the Bears should seriously considering benching Williams, not because of his play, just because they're not ready to train a new quarterback, given the way the offensive line is playing. They're going to ruin him before he gets a chance to progress.
Yeah.
Until they solve that problem.
They should have listened to us. We knew
we were here. Dana and Josh, football consultants. Hit us up. We'll figure your shit out, man.
Yeah.
It's pretty obvious from where we're sitting.
And if we get anything wrong, we just don't talk about it.
That's right.
People forget.
We'll ignore it because there's been plenty that we've gotten wrong.
So you said you don't really understand the line. So all I'm going to say is, like, I can't expect the Colts to score a lot of points on the Bears defense. And if the Bears can just kind of, score here, and I mean, look at what the Packers just did to the Colts running the ball, right?
Well, so what I'm thinking too is, what is it? Richardson have 3 interceptions, more than 3 interceptions through 2 games at this point. I know he threw 2 last week.
I'm not sure.
Like the Bears defense is good. So do I think Richardson is capable of throwing 4 picks to the Bears and maybe 1 or 2 of them being like returned for touchdowns or like putting them right, near the goal line? Yes. In that scenario where Richardson against a good defense and a couple of ball hawks in that secondary turns the ball over a bunch, yes, sure. Then the Bears could probably win that game too. But oh man, fucking just get the offense right. It's been like 70 years. Here's 70.
Yeah. So
80.
Most people would expect this game to be close just because neither team
they're not good. I mean, the Colts are 0-2.
Yeah, like neither team, you can't expect either team to really run away from the other. No. But here's what I'll say: like, if a team's down by a field goal or a couple points or 4 or 5 late in the game, like, I don't think you can expect Richardson or Williams to like orchestrate a game-winning drive and score a touchdown, right?
No, he's not going 80 yards, right? He's not going 70 yards.
I don't think.
Richardson can throw the ball deep with some level of accuracy. We saw it in week 1, right? Like Williams has shown absolutely none of that. So could the Bears run a stupid Tampa 2 style defense that gets cracked? Yes. For sure. Like it happened a million times under Lovie Smith, right?
Yeah, Richardson completed 3 balls over 50 yards against the Texans. I mean,
yes. So yes, I see that. Yeah, that could happen.
A lot of people said the one throw he made was the best throw ever.
The first week one, certainly the best throw of the first week. Yeah,
he threw it like Did he throw it like 70 yards in the air?
I don't
just like dropped it and he like
I don't
pressured or something. And there was like
beautiful. It was guy was in stride. It was perfect. Perfect.
yeah, I mean, if he gets consistent, I mean that dude is an absolute beast. And
Oh
like
my God.
he's only been playing football for like 6 years or something like that. Like he didn't, so he's still learning a lot.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like
I just think yeah, it's like can he make enough mistakes so that the defense can win them this game? Absolutely. Do the Bears run the kind of defense that a quarterback with one deep ball can just annihilate it? Yep. So I don't know, man. Watch the highlights. Don't bet it. Watch the highlights.
yeah, Swift 25 carries, Jonathan Taylor 25 carries, 13-12. I don't know who.
Yeah,
One
I
of the
mean,
teams.
the Bears scoring 4 field goals makes a lot of sense to me.
All right, we got the Chargers at the Steelers. I have the Steelers by 1.
Steelers given 3.
Oh, it's close. I think it's in between those two.
No, I think you got it. Steelers are 1.5.
Opened at 2.5 and went to 1.5. So opened closer to your guess, and now it's closer to mine.
Yeah.
Okay, Justin Herbert got rolled up on. I think this is a scenario where he's certainly not going to be 100%, but I would expect him to play. I think we'll know a lot more when the practice reports come out today whether Herbert's going to play, but I don't know. Like it just seems like it's going to be more of a mobility and pain tolerance sort of a thing rather than he absolutely can't play, but we'll see. All right. We were both close. The line settled in the middle of our two guesses. So Steelers at home, they're 2-0. They play a boring style, very good defense, run the ball.
Yep.
Fields is almost certainly going to start another game.
Yeah.
Like you got the Chargers coming from California to Pittsburgh. Like it's a fair line. I think like the Steelers barely favored. You expect them to win a home game, but you don't get crazy with it because the Chargers are also 2-0.
Yep.
And Harbaugh, Herbert, they're running the ball well. Yeah, I mean, I just think it's a fair line.
Yeah.
I do like the Chargers here if Herbert is mostly healthy.
And Harbaugh lets him throw the ball. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I already dropped Herbert off my fantasy team. Like,
yeah, me too.
If they threw the ball a lot, he would be a stud. They're just not going to do it.
No, that's not his style.
That's fine. Like I don't hate him. He's not going to score a lot.
No, that's just the way he runs the ball. Put this game on, take a nap. It's a good game to take a nap too.
Yeah,
it's like a baseball game.
Probably will be low scoring.
6-3.
6-3.
6-3.
Oh, 6'3" sophomore from the parts unknown. Okay.
Yeah.
So I like the Chargers here.
I know I'm not strong either. I mean, either team could win this game. I think I like the Steelers just because I have more faith in Tomlin at home in that defense.
Yeah, I mean, go figure. Yeah. Caleb Williams looks terrible.
Yeah.
Justin Fields doesn't look great, but he's winning games for the Steelers.
He's not making mistakes, not turning the ball over.
I'll say this too, like Justin Fields, if there's one uniform that fits him or like a place too that like fits his style of play, I think Pittsburgh, like they did that part right.
Yeah, I mean it felt like a good fit, and I think Tomlin's a great coach. He hasn't figured out the offensive side yet, but maybe he doesn't have to if he can keep that defense running.
I'm very curious to see when Russell's 100% what they do, because I still think Fields' ceiling is not a Super Bowl. Russell's already won one, and he's not who he used to be. But I really think if they want to make it all the way, they need Russell to play, and they need him to be.
They need somebody who knows
close to what he has been.
Yeah, they need somebody who knows how to pass the ball, and that just hasn't been Fields, unfortunately. Right? He's certainly not shown that. Not in Chicago. He did not have an opportunity to do that in Pittsburgh yet. But so somebody's got to know how to throw that ball.
I'm gonna make a bold prediction here. Chargers beat the Steelers. And at the same time, Wilson's going to get healthy. So week 4, you'll see Wilson come in. It's like it's hard to bench a guy who's winning, but now Fields lost a game, and they're going to say, okay, like Wilson was the number 1 before he got hurt. We're going to let him take the reins, be ready to go, like, rah, keep everyone happy, sort of a thing. But I think that's what we're going to see happen.
Yeah, I mean, that makes sense to me.
And then tomorrow they're going to say, oh, just like McCaffrey out of the blue, all of a sudden he's on IR with his calf injury. They're going to say, oh, Wilson's on the IR now. It's not healing, whatever. But my prediction remains. Okay. All right. Let's move on. We are roughly halfway through. Let's do the Dolphins at the Seahawks. No Tua.
No, thank God. He's come out and said, no, you're not going to play. Thank God.
Seahawks. Oh, yeah, he's on IR too. But anyway, Seahawks, I have -7.
I have -5.5. Who is the backup in Miami?
Skylar Thompson.
Oh, Skylar Thompson. Okay.
Skylar Toiletries.
Ooh.
Seattle opened at 6.5, and it's all the way down to 4.5.
I mean, that's odd to me that it went down after the 2 announcement.
I don't understand it.
That's really strange. You figure that would have gone up. I mean, I made these picks at the beginning of the week, but I figured Tua wouldn't start, but it's weird that it's going down. Like, did something happen in Seattle? Like, is Geno Smith questionable? Did something happen?
Kenneth Walker is likely not going to play, but like, he's certainly better than Charbonnet, but it's not like that might change the line by a half a point or a point. Like, it's nothing crazy. Geno's healthy. I'm pretty sure the receivers are healthy. I don't know. I suppose they could have like some defensive injuries, which I don't usually have a good pulse on, but I don't understand that. Like, maybe this is why I'm bad at Survivor, but like, this is a Survivor pick for me, the Seahawks at home, just because I don't think Skylar Thompson is capable of like going on the road. And
has he even started a game?
He has, actually. I think they were talking about it when he came in. Like, he's started, I think, a few games over the. I mean, he's been in Miami for a few years, I think. But here's the one thing I'll always say about a team: when a star player goes out, they tend to play well in the short term. So I think you're going to see the Miami defense and even like the running backs, and like, they're going to rally a little bit for the next week or two and play decent. And that's probably where I'm wrong, and that's probably why this is lower. They don't want to give up on the season. They're 1-1. Tua's out for at least 4 weeks, but like, they want to win some games and still try to make the playoffs. And I think you're going to see some of that wear off, but that's the case to be made for Miami. I'm not going to get crazy with this just because 4.5 can be a lot. I do think that the Seahawks will win a game, but I won't be surprised if it's a field goal at the end of the game.
Something close. I mean, we'll see if Mike McDaniel can pull off a Matt LaFleur here.
Yeah.
And I don't think he's shown at this point that he's quite the coach that LaFleur is. So again, it's weird. I mean, I just like the Seahawks here, given who's starting. If it was Tua and he hadn't had a concussion or anything like that, what do you think the line would be? Like, Tua was healthy.
They still looked kind of bad against the Bills before he went down.
You think it's still the Seahawks who are favored?
I do, but probably less. Well, definitely less than 3. Yeah, I think it's probably a pick 'em or Seahawks
by one. Yeah, okay. Yeah, that makes sense to me too.
All right, who got this one? You got this one. So it is 4-4 with a tie.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to go to the Panthers. Andy Dalton's Panthers.
The Red Rifles back in action, baby.
Panthers at the Gardner Minshews. And I have the Raiders by 8.
The Raiders by 6.5.
Did you nail it exactly?
No.
It's lower than that.
5.
It opened at 7. It went down to 5. So it probably opened at 7 before Bryce Young got benched. And now it's 5.
Yep.
Okay. Raiders -5. This is the pick of the week. That's not going to be like a thing every week, but I'll tell you why I'm the only person in America who likes the Panthers.
To cover or to win outright?
To cover.
Okay.
Always going to be to cover.
Okay. All right.
Okay. So Bryce Young got benched, which he's started 18 games or 19 games or something like that, and you're benching him already. Like, he hasn't played well, but what a disaster. I'm not even going to get into that. Anyway, Andy Dalton's coming in. So this is the whole scenario. This is kind of the perfect mix of happenstance. I don't know how to say it. Raiders came back from 10 down in the fourth quarter to beat the Ravens on the road. So the Ravens are 0-2. So now
Unbelievable.
And now you have Andy Dalton coming in. So two big things why I like the Panthers here. Raiders are fresh off a huge win.
Yeah.
Like if you can beat Baltimore on the road, you feel like you can beat anyone as long as you have a good game plan and execute. But after you do that, you usually have a little bit of a hangover, right? Emotionally, like they were on a huge high and now they're like, oh, we got to play the Panthers. You know, they take them easy. Like it's just human nature. You just do it. And it's very hard to pull yourself out of that and like really focus. Panthers, when's the last time Andy Dalton started a game?
For the Bears, probably, or
Was
no?
it
Did he?
last year
Yeah,
when they
maybe
didn't-
he did.
When
Yeah,
the Panthers were out of it and they just didn't
Yeah,
want
maybe
Bryce
they
Young
did.
to. So,
he did.
okay, so now you go back, like if you're studying tape on Dalton for the game or whatever, it's like you don't have anything new, and you're trying to figure out, okay, now how do we play defense against him? We don't have a lot of recent stuff on him. Now, the Panthers are going to rally around, a new quarterback. I think at least in the short term, kind of like what I said with the Dolphins, it just seems like a perfect storm of, oh, the Raiders are down by 10 to the Panthers in the fourth quarter, and then it's like, can they come back? I just think that's how this type of game usually plays out.
Yeah, it's another game I wouldn't want to watch. The Raiders' victory against the Ravens was inexplicable to me. Really, really, and maybe that's why I'm here and not doing something else because I don't understand. But this game feels like it's going to be pretty close, not high scoring, a lot of field goals, and but yeah, I think the Panthers have an opportunity to win this game for sure.
All right. There you have it. That's going to be a 3-star. We'll get to that at the end. 49ers at the Rams, or the Rams JV squad, maybe we'll call it. I have the Niners by 5.5.
I have the Niners given 6.5. Yeah.
You're going to get that. It opened at 7.5 and it's down to 7. The poor Rams probably should have won at Detroit, lost.
Mm-hmm.
Banged up against the Cardinals, got smoked.
Stomped.
Now you get to play the Niners, who are pissed off because they just lost to the Vikings, and you still have everyone hurt.
Yeah.
Like, I mean,
what a narrative change from the week 1 to week 3. It's like coming out of week 1, everybody's like, God, the Rams look great. Yeah, they're a playoff team, 6th, 7th best, maybe even the 5th best team in the NFC. And now we're week 3, and it's like, oh, dude, poor Stafford. Is career over? Is this team done? It's like just how quickly the narrative shifts in the NFL.
If they can, with Nakua and Kupp hurt, if they can win somehow wins 2 of the next 4 and then get those guys back, I think they're still fine. I think last year the same sort of thing happened.
Yeah.
They sucked and then they got healthy and they started winning some games.
With that 7th seed, it's just with that 7th wild card, it's just anything could be possible, right? You can lose early in the season. If you win enough games at the end of the season, you can get to 9. Probably gonna make the playoffs.
Yeah, so I don't want to overanalyze this. There's so many injuries. I don't know what you even do. It's a division game. The Rams are at
Rivals,
home.
Yeah.
If you're a Rams fan, that's what you're hoping for, that they can just keep it close.
Yeah.
I don't have an opinion on this one. Josh got that one. He is up 6-4, and we got 5 left. I need to go 4-1. Yeah, 4-1 to win. All right. Well, let's do the Lions Cardinals. This is suddenly interesting.
Yeah.
Which maybe it wouldn't have been to start the year, you'd say.
Both teams 1-1, and
I have the
Cardinals
Lions.
like to have some firepower.
Yeah, Lions 2.5.
I went with the Cards, giving 3.5. They're at home, and they scored a bunch of points. And if Marvin Harrison Jr. woke up, then I think people need to be wary.
Lions by 3 is the spread, so I'm off by a half point. I get that one. Pulled to within 1. Okay. If this game was week 1, the Lions for sure would have been more than 3, and I could have seen like as much as maybe 6 or even 7.
Yeah, by touchdown. Yeah.
Uh, okay, so let's do some. I don't know if you call it transitive property or just kind of common opponents or whatever, but let's do this real quick. Cardinals at the Bills controlled the whole first half, had a chance to win it at the end. They were driving, could have scored a touchdown and won.
Yeah.
Week 2, Cardinals destroy the Rams, who were pretty banged up. Okay, what do you make of it? They took care of business, blew them out, did whatever they could. Marvin Harrison Jr.
Yes.
2 touchdowns, whatever.
Woke up. Yes. 130 some odd yards, something like that.
And I think Kyler had a perfect passer rating. And if you remember, the Rams defense against Detroit in week 1 was actually pretty good.
Yeah.
So there's that. Lions struggled to beat the Rams week 1 at home, lose to the Buccaneers when no one was picking the Buccaneers. I mean, no one's going to tell you that the Lions aren't good, but like they're not playing as well as they. Yeah, I hope they don't do wrong. Like the Lions are still fine, but they're the hunted. I said this before the season. Like everyone's going to give them a good game because the way that their head coach kind of portrays them as being the tough team. Like you force another team to get up for you now that you're doing that, and that's what we're seeing. So, like, I'm gonna be on the Cards here for sure.
Me too. Book it, Dano.
You can't just expect the Lions to like go on the road and beat everyone by more than 3 points at this point. Especially, I mean, the Cardinals have looked decent. Like, I don't know. Like next week when the Lions won by 14, you can call me an idiot, but like I just think the Cardinals are going to keep this close and they might win the game.
Yeah, I think the recipe right now to win in the NFL, get yourself a quarterback who can quarterback and get them the receiver who's the most dominant receiver or near the most dominant receiver in football, and you're going to win games. And guess what? They've maybe got that. And the Lions maybe don't. So I like the Cards here too. I like the Cards to win.
All right. Let's move on. I mean, that would be a game I would enjoy watching.
It could be very good,
beginning,
or it could be Cardinals up early and forever.
I'm so hot and cold on Kyler Murray. I don't like his like
persona. He's been hot and cold.
He's like very, I don't know, like resting bitch face kind of, but at the same time, like he's probably an okay guy. Like I'm so hot and cold on how I feel about him.
It's exciting to watch. Just dynamic.
Tell me how you feel about your friend Kyler. Well, I told you. All right.
Oh man, game of the week.
Well,
Ravens. Ravens Cowboys. Sorry.
Yeah, we got Ravens at the Cowboys. You were saying this one?
Yes. Just in terms of like for all the marbles, like can the Ravens afford to be 0-3? Can the Cowboys afford to be 1-2?
I know it's crazy. Like. A lot of people expected the Ravens to be at least 1-1 and the Cowboys to probably be 2-0, and you got 0-2 and 1-1 stuff.
Inexplicable 0-2.
I have a straight pick 'em. I said the line will be even. What do you?
I got the Cowboys by 3.5. It's because they're at home.
Cowboys minus 3.5. I think it's Ravens by 1. I could be wrong.
No, it wouldn't surprise me. Anything would surprise me at this point.
That's next week. I can't find it. Why is it way up here? Okay. FYI, real quick, there are a ton of I think there's more 3:00 games than noon games. I don't know why that happens sometimes.
Why are there 2 Monday night games? I don't know.
Right. So just FYI, if you're hoping to watch 8 games at noon, it ain't gonna happen. Okay. Baltimore at Dallas. It is Ravens by 1. So I do get that. I don't know what to think about this game. Like you can make a case for both teams, and if someone's going to tell you that they're sure that the Cowboys are going to win this game or the Ravens are going to win this game, like I'd love to hear the reporting evidence around that, because I think the Ravens are favored just because 0-2 is much worse than 1-1 at this point, and 0-3 is potentially catastrophic.
Yeah.
So I think that's why they're favored. There just has to be a little bit more desperation, but the Cowboys just got blown out at home too. It's like there's going to be no lack of motivation there. I don't have much else to say.
I don't either. I don't I don't know what to say about the Ravens. Like they were supposed to be one of the best teams in football, and they don't appear to be. And they gave up a stupid win to or victory to probably a very bad team, or maybe not very bad, but a bad team. And who knows? And Mike McCarthy last week, the Cowboys lost. This is weird. I don't know. Like even if one of these teams wins, I'm not sure how much it says about them.
Right. Yeah, that's a thing. Yeah, I totally agree with that. So the Ravens, I think this is the stat. The Ravens have blown 3 double-digit fourth quarter leads since the start of 2022. So at least one per year. And I think at home too. I think they're all at home, which is absolutely insane. And so everyone, like these analysts who have shows every day for 4 hours have to talk about something. So they're like, what is it that makes the Ravens susceptible to this when no other team is doing this?
Yeah.
And a lot of people are like, well, I don't know. There's not one thing. It's just kind of like, you throw a pick and you don't take care of the ball, and it is what it is. I'll say this. The Ravens have probably had more double-digit fourth quarter leads than any other team in that stretch too. So like, I'm not saying that's an excuse, but
it's weird. If they go 0-3, is it time? Are people starting to say, "Oh man, is it time for Harbaugh to go"? It's been there a long time. That was a long time ago.
Maybe you just got to pay McDonald more to be your defensive coordinator than he gets as a head coach somewhere else.
Maybe. I don't know. I still couldn't stop Mahomes.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, I don't know.
I'd be interested in the outcome of this game. I would love to watch this game just to see.
Yeah.
So many questions.
It could be interesting.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah.
I always like, having Sunday Ticket. You get to like the beginning of the fourth quarter, even the middle of the fourth quarter, and you're watching scores, and all of a sudden it's like games that were 14 points, like
close.
A few of them get close, or like, like it's good to have a bunch of stuff on, because it seems like a lot, some games are bullets, but a lot of things tighten up.
Yeah.
And I could see this being one of those too, where, one team jumps out and is hot, and the other team comes back, because I think both teams have a lot of firepower and can make those, comebacks.
It's like basketball now. Basketball, you don't have to watch the fourth quarter, right? Because then you really turn it on. It could be back and forth. But football used to be, I think, a lot more consistent in terms of scoring and which team was winning. And now it just seems like it could be anybody's game into the fourth quarter.
Yeah, I mean, one turnover, obviously can make a huge difference.
Well, the way the league prioritizes offense now, it's probably a large part of it.
Yeah. Okay. 6-6 with a tie. 3 left.
Yeah.
We have the Chefs at the Falcons. I have the Chefs by 4.
I have them giving 7.5, and I'm a little weirded out by this line. I guess they're on the road, but
yeah, it is lower than both of us.
Yeah, 3.5.
Yeah, there is. Open at 3.5, and it is 3.5. So I get that one. Don't call it a comeback. All right. Chiefs survived against the Bengals,
who are probably a much better team than the Falcons. I want to say, even though
certainly more
similar record.
Watch, like if those two teams played right now, it would be -3 to the home team, and I would expect Burrow to win the game at the end.
Yeah, me too.
Even though Kirk is fresh off a primetime comeback, fourth quarter, 2-minute drill extravaganza
against the Eagles. Yeah.
So the Chiefs survived the Bengals. There was the controversial pass interference, which the Bengals would have won, although the replay was much worse. Yeah, I mean, absolutely hit him early. It's like, what is that guy doing? Like, how is your timing so off? No. And like, I don't know. Just like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Anyway,
I like Chiefs here. I don't know. Like, I still feel like the Falcons are not a great team. I know Chiefs are on the road, but I like the Chiefs better than a touchdown.
Yeah, I think the Chiefs will win. I don't know if it's going to be by 3 or 6 or 10 or 1.
I mean, their running back's injured. Pacheco, he's out for the year, I think.
No, he's out for at least 6 weeks. He's having surgery on. Did he break his? Yeah, he broke one of the bones in his lower leg. So minimum 6-week recovery, but I think he'll be back at some point unless something goes wrong. But yeah, I mean that's a good point. He's out. He's clearly their best running back.
Carson Steele steps up.
Yeah. So like I said, I think the Chiefs will win, but I have no idea if it's going to be by more or less than 3.5. So I have no opinion on that one. Meh. Okay. The Jags against the Bills. Okay. I have the Bills by 9.5.
The Bills giving 6.5. Best team in
You are
football?
for sure closer.
Best team in football?
The Bills?
Yeah.
I mean, possibly. They seem to be the most consistent. Like
Right
they
now.
come out and they seem to play well most games.
Yeah.
And other teams don't do that as much. I'll say that. Open at 6.5. It is 5.
5. Yeah.
All right. Bills -5. Okay. So I was 4.5 points is pretty bad too. I was way off. And was it last year or 2 years ago or both? It just seemed like I was guessing these Bills lines and it was always higher than I thought it was. So that played into this a little bit. I mean, the Jags are 0-2, like
About to be 0-3.
5? Like, why is it 5?
I don't know. What is the Jags on the road? Like, what have the Jags shown you that they're going to give the Bills a run for their money?
Is Josh Allen throwing left-handed this game, or like what in that? I don't
let him run. I don't either. It's a strange line. Like, just what have the Jags done? Like carrying off of last season when they were winning the division until the last game, they lost it. They don't look very good this year. They don't look like a team that understands itself. They don't look like a team that has taken what was supposed to be a generational quarterback prospect in Trevor Lawrence and done almost nothing with him. Yeah.
Yeah. So, okay, the Jags had the Dolphins and blew it. And then they lost to the Browns on the road by 5. So overall, they haven't been getting blown out. And you could argue that the Dolphins with Tua and the Browns last week aren't like they're decent teams.
Yeah.
So they've kept it close against decent teams. I guess that's what you say. And so you just say, okay, Bills only 5 because they'll probably keep it close again.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Like, you know how I am. If I don't understand it, I trust other people versus what I thought. So I think the Jags are going to cover, but I don't think they'll win.
I like the Bills here. I think the Bills at 5.
Bills by 24.
No, I mean I think I like them better than 5. I think the Bills went outright. I don't think the Jags are going to cover.
Yeah,
it's just a touchdown. They just need to be better than a touchdown.
Intuitively,
the Bills.
Yeah, you have to like the Bills intuitively. I just think this is my spread pick'em contest. Like, I would guess 80% of the people are going to have Bills -5 as one of their top picks, and I just think like it's too good to be true for some reason, and I don't have that reason.
Yeah.
So that's where I'm going with that. All right. What does Van Pelt say? Because no one will have it.
Yeah.
All right. We got so that's one of the Monday night games.
Yes, Monday night.
So Chiefs Falcons is Sunday night. Jags Bills Monday night at like 7:15 Eastern, and then Washington against the Bengals starts at like 8 Eastern or something like that.
Weird.
Which is, if you're gonna do 2 games, I like how they stagger it. You get to see basically the first half of the first game, and then it goes to halftime, and then the second game starts. You get to see most of the first half. Or like the first quarter, and then like you get a little overlap, but if you want to, you can watch most of both games. I think that's
cool.
That's if you only have one telly. If you got more than one telly, you can watch them all.
Truth.
Okay. I want Bengals -9.5.
So I have the Bengals. You're gonna get this. I have the Bengals given 3.5.
It is 7.5, so it's in the middle. So I get that one. And where are we at here? You got this one. Did we tie? No, I got you by 1.
Yeah.
8-7 and 1 tie. So, all right. I mean, the Bengals are in the same situation as the Ravens, although the Bengals have an easier opponent. But Bengals are 0-2. Very easily could have won that game against the Chiefs. I think, obviously, the Bengals are going to come out pissed off, like, against Daniels must have looked decent last week because I heard some things about like he looked pretty good, like for a rookie, like he was doing some good things.
Yep.
I didn't watch any of that game. Who did they beat? The Giants.
Yeah.
I mean, it was kind of the toilet.
It was like, wasn't it? Yeah, it was all by field goals, wasn't it?
7 field goals.
Yeah.
I don't like. I'll just say this: like the Bengals will win this game. 7.5 can be a lot. Washington's been okay. I just don't see how the Bengals lose this game. But I also said that in week 1 and they lost to the Patriots at home. So
yeah,
but
I might like Washington to cover here, but I agree. I think the Bengals will win.
I mean, this is another one where it's just bad. Like if they lose this, it's like
a lot of people think they're gonna, like, even at 0-2, they're gonna make the playoffs. They did it last year, or no, 2 years ago, whenever it was. I don't know that you can say the same thing at 0-3. Then you have to think there are some intrinsic issues with this team.
And look at this division. We were like, I liked the Bengals to win it. Josh liked the Ravens to win it. They're both 0-2. So the Browns are 1-1.
Steelers are 2-0, man.
Yeah.
With half a team.
I'll stand by my pick of the Bengals to win the division still, but
yeah,
it's just weird how I mean, and a lot of it's just matchups.
Yeah.
Although
the loss at home to Washington, I just oof.
Yeah.
Oof.
Yeah, I don't know. So I was gonna say the Bengals and Ravens have had more difficult schedules so far, and I think that's still true, but it's not like egregious. I mean, the Bengals at home against the Patriots and the Ravens at home against the Raiders, like those should be wins. Like
yeah.
Yeah. All right. So no I guess advice on that. I think the Bengals will win. I don't know if it's going to be by 7.5. More than 7.
Could be an ugly game.
So as I go back through and explain what I like, I'll have Josh scan and let me know what he's gonna like.
I mean, I like you like the Pats to cover. I like the Pats also to cover.
How many stars?
Give me 2 stars.
2.
Yeah.
What else do you like?
I like the Bucks over the Broncos. You can throw 3 stars on that for me. I like the Bucks to win outright here. Yeah.
Well, hold on. You like the Bucks to cover 6.5?
No. I like to win. Well, I like them to. Yes, I like them to cover 6.5 and to win. Yes.
All right.
Which they would have to do if they were covering. But yes. Yep. Yes. I think they're better than a touchdown than the Broncos.
All right. What else do you like?
I like the Colts over the Bears for sure. You can put 3 stars on that all day long for me. Give me a star Steelers over the Chargers.
All right.
And I think I like the Cards to win outright over the Lions.
How confident are you?
You gotta put 2 stars on that.
All right.
Jalen.
That's what he's got.
That's what I got.
I have the Patriots just for 1 star tonight. I have Eagles to cover against the Saints for 1 star. Mm-hmm. If Malik Willis plays for the Packers, I think the Titans will cover up to a touchdown. That's 3 stars. Mm-hmm. Obviously, if Love plays, that goes off the board. Chargers, 2 stars to cover plus 1.5 at the Steelers. Panthers, the pick of the week, plus 5 at the Raiders. So that's obviously 3 stars. Cardinals at home, 2 stars against the Lions, plus 3. And because no one will have it, I'll have the Jaguars plus 5 at the Bills. Just a single star. Can't trust them too much. Any parting words from you? Week 3 already?
Still glad football is back.
Football tonight, Sunday, 2 on Monday. What do we got real quick here? I said there's a lot of 3 o'clock games. There is 1, 2, 3. That can't be right.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Oh, okay. I was
5.
1, 2, 3, 5. 3 o'clock, 3 Central. I was saying Eastern times earlier, Central now. Anyway.
So that means there's 8 noontime games.
7 noon and 5.
Oh, that's right. 7. Yeah, the
3.
one tonight. Yeah, that's
What
right.
was I? Okay, on a normal week, there's like 8 or 9 or 10 at noon,
Yeah.
and like usually like
3,
3.
just a
But maybe
handful.
that's what I was thinking. It's just different than normal. But
Yeah.
so you still do get 7 games at noon. So I was wrong. Okay,
Lovely.
but we're not going to talk about that.
Ew.
What we're going to talk about is the Bears are 1-1, the Vikings are 2-0, and above all else, just win, baby. Go Vikings!
Go Bears!